It was my first year of school, during the early months of stepping into this new world. From the very beginning, it was clear that I was progressing slower than the others. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get good grades. It felt like there was an invisible wall between me and learning. One day, my teacher, who had noticed my struggle, asked me with a polite smile but a gaze that seemed to lack something, to move my seat closer to her desk. She said it would help me learn better, but there was something in her tone that made my heart feel a little heavier. From that day on, my place was right next to the teacher's desk. Not for extra attention, but more like being watched closely. She would often say, "You're so quiet. Stay this way, and you'll learn better." But was silence really the key to learning? Or was it just a way to cover up my shortcomings? Sitting next to the teacher felt less like an opportunity to improve and more like a nightmare. I was constantly embarrassed, as if all eyes were on me. The other kids thought of me as the dumb student, and every glance or whisper from them felt like a dagger piercing my heart. I hated my teacher. She was the reason they thought this way. She had separated me from the group and turned me into a target of quiet ridicule. One day during class, someone knocked on the door. The teacher stood up and said she had to step out. Her footsteps hadn't even faded when the other kids started approaching me one by one. Each of them said something hurtful, or gave me a look that crushed me even further. I lowered my head, trying to escape their gazes, but even their shadows felt heavy and suffocating. Tears welled up in my eyes. I cried silently, holding it all in. But each tear felt louder than a scream. Amid the mocking voices and laughter, I suddenly sensed a shift in the atmosphere. A strange stillness crept through the noise. I could feel it. Someone, or maybe they, were coming closer. I didn't dare lift my head, but the kids' voices grew quieter and quieter. Slowly, I opened my tear-filled eyes and saw 3 figures stood in the shadows. I could only see their feet. One of them, I realized, was my teacher. There were 2 women and 1 man. Then, her voice broke the silence. It was her again, shouting, "They're mocking you." I was overwhelmed with sorrow, a weight so heavy that it felt like it was crushing me from within. Suddenly, it felt as though my soul had left my body and collapsed onto the ground. My vision blurred, narrowing to a dim tunnel. My limbs felt heavy, unresponsive. It was as if I had been paralyzed, trapped in a body that refused to move, surrounded by the suffocating darkness. Suddenly, a gentle voice broke through the suffocating silence, saying, "Help her, or she'll never learn." I felt a warm hand lift my chin, steadying my trembling face. It was as if this touch carried something more, an energy that reached deep within me. I sensed it pushing my lost soul back into my body, as though piecing me together again. In an instant, my vision cleared, and I could see again. My breath returned, sharp and heavy, as if I had been holding it for far too long. The weight lifted, and for the first time in what felt like forever, I could move. My eyes opened, and I saw the world around me clearly again. From that moment on, I was no longer the dumb student. Somehow, I became just like everyone else, keeping up with the lessons as if nothing had ever been wrong. But what exactly happened that day, I never understood. To this day, I don't know.